Hi there, Sonia here. Welcome back to another episode of the Help I'm Artist podcast. Now, before we get started, a quick disclaimer. At the time of this recording, it's almost New Year. 2020, a new decade is about to begin. It is Dutch tradition to shoot off fireworks, officially when the sun sets. Now, I happen to live across the road from a shop selling fireworks. And the first thing people do, young and old, is to try out those new fireworks. And that happens to be in front of our house. So if you do happen to hear some bangs and some explosions, I'm not in a war zone, it's just nearly New Year. So I can't edit them all out because they seem to be going on all day. But welcome to this new episode. I love seeing artists succeed, and this podcast is there to help artists like you get clear and confident about your art. As artists, so much about what we do comes from within us. How we feel and what we think literally determines our steps. And that is why I focus so much on the mindset behind good art. In order to grow in our art and actually earn a living from our creativity, we need to not only develop our artistic skills, but we need to adopt a healthy business mindset. As artists, we need to realize we are in business. Let's face it, we all want to make an impact with our art, bring that which is on the inside out with more power and with more impact. We want to not only make our art, but we also want to sell it. But how do we do this? How do you reach your potential art audience, and what tools can you use to communicate this? The Help I'm Artist podcast is here to help you on your journey, whether you're just starting out or maybe you've been a working artist for a while. Each week I share tips and steps and insights on how you can take your art to the next level. Stay tuned because I have a special resource for you to download with this episode. I'll tell you more about it at the end. Are you also tired of having no control over your art financing? Do you find it hard to look ahead because you never know when your next payment is coming? I have good news. There's a way to get back the control. By adding an art teaching element to your art business, you can get to decide when you teach, what you are teaching, and how much you're charging for your workshop. If you set up an art workshop or an art course and do it correctly, you will not only earn more recurrable income, but you'll have more time and have more influence over your scheduling. So if you are thinking about setting up an art workshop, or maybe you've tried in the past but you've never had enough students, or maybe you're thinking about it but not quite sure if teaching is something for you, then stay tuned. I hope this podcast will inspire, motivate and give you the confidence for you to take the next steps in setting up and running your own workshops. There has never been a better time to teach art and to share your skills. In this podcast, I will share why it has never been more exciting to teach art and creativity. The internet has changed everything. People are more informed about what's out there, and information is at our fingertips and accessible and ready to use. We Google and we surf and we search the web, and invariably we find something related to the things we want to learn. The most asked question in a Google search is the how-to question. How do I change a light bulb? How do I fix my curling iron? How do I run Facebook ads? There is a how-to for just about anything. And if you are an artist and you know how to do a certain skill or a craft, your opportunities are endless. I did a little research as to what resolutions for 2020 are trending. Besides weight loss and getting fitter, those are top of the list each year. People that were surveyed said they want to learn a new skill, work on self-improvement, try something new, and meet and connect with people. Now, what are you waiting for? What an opportunity for artists wanting to share their skills. With all that screen time and sitting behind our computers, our hands are screaming for attention. Using our hands and making something is the most natural thing in the world for us, but that screen time is really robbing us. I've met several people over the last few years, and they've set a goal to learn a new skill each year. Whether to do cooking, or doing voiceovers, or tie and dye, they attest to the fact that learning a new skill adds a feeling of satisfaction and a general well-being. I have to think about my last visit to South Africa. I visited the beautiful caves in the Cederberg surroundings. This is where the San tribe used to live. It's an ancient tribe that dwelled in southern Africa. The caves were filled with amazing drawings, and the same urge that the cavemen had to depict their life, to illustrate and to express themselves through drawings and through paintings, this urge is still there. The urge to create and make with our hands. If you can facilitate a workshop or organize a course, you'll add a meaningful experience for your students, one that they can use to express their feelings and emotions. The burnout and stress epidemic seems to be raging. I just see it in my own circles. I know so many people that are suffering from a burnout. In a previous podcast, I interviewed South African fine artist Malcolm Dewey. He shares more about his own artist journey. Malcolm always wanted to be an artist, but chose to study law instead. He has since made a bold career move and is a working artist that sells his work all over the globe. When I asked him in the interview why he makes art, he said that one of the most beautiful things about creativity is that it relaxes the mind. He says when he feels stress, he just gets up behind his easel and starts to draw and paint. It's a great stress reliever. Painting and drawing, or whatever you do or want to share, will literally bring healing and relief. What another great opportunity. You'll really have an impact through your workshops. And then what about this younger generation? There have never been so many teens suffering from anxiety and are stressed out and lacking confidence. Imagine if you were to offer workshops for teens or for children, giving them an opportunity to express their emotions, create with their hands, and to use their imagination. Schools, I know that's in the Netherlands, are really cutting the budgets for art education, and it's more and more difficult to find art in the school curriculum. A great story of an art teacher in the US illustrates just how powerful teaching art to children can be. An art teacher asked her students at the beginning of the term to paint an apple. She showed them an example of an apple, and most of the students just copied it, literally, painted the same apple. As the term progressed, she taught them about the different art movements through history, and showed the students paintings of apples and sculptures of apples in the Middle Ages, and in the Renaissance, and an impressionistic apple. She showed them a surrealistic apple and a cubistic apple. At the end of the term, she asked her students to paint the apple again. And this time the whole classroom was filled with an array of different apples. The students had learned that they could use their imagination, that they were given permission to dream and to create. Teaching allows students to develop their own creativity, use their imaginations, and it's this imagination that's going to solve the problems that we are facing. These children and teens will go into life with an enlarged vision about what is possible. They will see problems as challenges and change the way the world works. Teaching art is a powerful tool. Children in teen classes are often dismissed as less or inferior. But if you love working with these young minds, then I want to challenge you. How can you share your creativity, share your expertise and your skills to add value to these students' lives? Because maybe one day they'll join your adult painting class, or they'll have confidence to choose art as a profession, or have an understanding that they will invest in art when they're older. Teaching art is rewarding and really connects you with some amazing people. Remember that resolution for 2020, the one that's trending? People want to have meaningful connections with people, in real life. And offering and organizing an art workshop facilitates this connecting. People are using their creativity and expression while connecting with others. The number one reasons artists tell me they can't make their art is because they have no money. Maybe you can relate. Many artists have day jobs to be able to fund their own art careers. Imagine if you could supplement your income by doing what you love and sharing your art with others, finding a way that it fits into your art routine. If you set up your art teaching business correctly, it will become a lucrative source of recurrable income. Next week, I'll share the story of Mitzi Renoy. She's a fine artist from the Netherlands. I spoke with her and she shared her own artist story. She has incorporated art teaching as part of her art business. She has set up a system so that she can incorporate teaching as part of her artist routine. There are so many emerging and exciting markets that you can teach your art and your art workshops to. I'm sure you have noticed too that there's been an interesting shift in our society. There's never been a more active and aging generation, also known as the baby boomers, those born after the war between 1948 and 1964, say 55 and older. I see it with my neighbor. She's just turned 70. I love her to bits, and I always smile when I see her jumping on her bike with her short tennis outfit off to play a game with her friends. The baby boomers have gone through their entire life with a secret desire. Their kids are out the house, they're at the end of their career, ready for retirement, and they have more income than any other group. And they're looking for hobbies and looking for ways to connect with people. It's a massive market with amazing opportunities for artists to take advantage of. How about marketing and reaching your audience? This has never been easier. That's why it's such an exciting time to be an entrepreneur, to be an artist, to have the opportunity to promote and to organize workshops. We no longer have to rely on the word of mouth as the sole means of promotion. Social media reach has increased. We can not only reach people through the World Wide Web on an international scale, but also we can focus on local communities. And how wonderful if you organize something locally that you can actually reach people that are interested in that what you're teaching through a social media network. You can really be specific about people that you want to reach and actually offer them content and value and market your workshop accordingly. And there's been such a change in how people spend their time and money. There's an increased tendency for consumers, people out there buying, to combine their relaxation, their entertainment, and their buying. Say you want to go and buy a dress. You want to be entertained. You want to be educated about the dress. You want to have an experience. If artists can connect with brands and their art becomes a bridge between the brand and the customer, this too can be an amazing opportunity for artists. Restaurants are offering painting sessions between courses, theatres are offering clay modelling sessions at intermission, or barista artists are asked to entertain and to offer great coffee at retail stores. Can you find a way in which you can put your art and your skill and your expertise in a concept that you can build a bridge with the consumer of today? People are open and willing to learn. In past centuries, creativity was locked and preserved for a chosen few. Those talented enough or rich enough could go to the art academy. The artist had a glorified status, quite unattainable for most of us. But platforms like Etsy and Skillshare and Udemy have opened up opportunities for normal people to learn creativity. This has made creativity more accessible, and internet has infused people with vision, showing them that they too can create. And by following a course online or taking a class at a workshop space, that they feel they too can create and be the artist and be expressive in what they love to do. And how about corporations? Corporations are encouraging their employees to take creative classes and to learn a skill, sometimes even paying for it. Companies are looking for creative ways to engage with their staff, offering teams retreats with creative activities. That's a whole market you can look into as an artist. Is there a corporation or a business in your neighborhood that is looking for an artist to organize an art concept where they can take their staff to and have a meaningful experience in team building but also learning a skill? Have a Google search. Think out the box and think of what's possible where you can use your art skill not to only generate more income in a more stable way, because then you'll have control over your bank balance, because you'll be organizing workshops. You'll know exactly when it comes in and how it comes in and how often, so you can make far more wise and calculated decisions. And on the other hand, you'll give so much meaning to a person's life by sharing your skill and your expertise. So there are great opportunities. Also, just think of workshop spaces. It's not that you have to go into a classroom or just an official space to make your art. I know in my village, people use empty office spaces, empty spaces in the shopping street. There's so many vacant shops in this day and age that you could set up a good deal and offer workshops right there, and the retailers will be thankful because you're actually bringing people into the shopping area. Maybe you're thinking of becoming full-time and earning a living from your art. Adding art teaching to your art business will give you the opportunity to make the transition from your day job to becoming a full-time artist. Offering these classes will give you that income that you need to make the transition. And how wonderful that in this day and age you don't have to go to university to teach art. Of course, you need to be good at your skills and to be able to communicate this. But you can set up a workshop in a space, organize and get students, and you're set to go. So even if you're a self-taught teacher, you can get going and start a workshop. Students of an elementary school were asked, what makes a good teacher? They did surveys with hundreds of young students, and what came out was quite surprising. That a good teacher, their favorite teacher, ate apples. Now I had to really think about this, but what it boiled down to was that the students found that the teachers that ate apples were just like them. They were human. They ate apples. So teachers, good teachers, are the teachers that people can relate to. They are the ones that are human. They go through the process. You're not just talking at your audience, you're talking with them. You're one of them. You're inviting them into the story. You're teaching them a technique. You're teaching them a process of transition. When you're an artist, you make your art piece. You maybe work on it for weeks or maybe even months, and then finally it's finished and you're lucky that you found a buyer and you can sell it. But once your art piece is sold, it's gone. It's only sellable once. And of course you can go into reproductions or make products from your art pieces or try licensing your art. But this asks quite a bit of capital. When you go into art teaching, you can scale your business in a far greater way. You've thought up a concept, you've made a plan, you've done your preparation, and you can repeat your workshop again and again and again. And this, the more you do it and the more you practice, will be easier and take less of your energy and give you more of those continued revenue streams so that you can grow your art business. And of course the possibilities of going after the workshop, you finished your workshop day and maybe you offer them an experience after your workshop. So you set up a closed Facebook group and people pay a certain amount to be coached by you for the 4 weeks after your workshop. So you give them an experience, be it online or offline, to maybe have their art critiqued, have they applied what they've learned in your workshop, so they can have an experience after the workshop. And this is all possible through the social media platforms. So as you can see, the possibilities are endless. If you are looking for a way to add that recurrable income, want to share your skills with others, you have an inquisitive mind and have that little level of patience that you can take students from point A to point B, then maybe you should consider teaching art, or setting up an art workshop, or creating an event where you ask people to attend to have a creative experience. Next week in Mitsu's story, I will share a certain concept that she does with her partner that involves art and music. It's a great formula, it's a great concept of adding different art forms and creating a valuable experience for her audience. So think out the box. I really want to challenge you to see what's possible in this new year, so that you can use your creativity not only to make your art, but to share it with others. I hope that you feel inspired and will look into the different teaching possibilities. I've written a special ebook for you to download. This ebook will help you take the next steps to set up and run profitable art workshops. You can scoot over to my website and have a look. www.sonjasmalheer.com/ebook. As I said, next week I'll be back with a special guest, Mitzi Renoy, a Dutch fine artist and an art teacher. Mitzi will share her inspiring artist journey and what steps she took in a later season of her life to make the transition of being a photographer to becoming a full-time fine artist. That's all for this week. Next week I'll be back with another episode of the Help I Am Artist podcast. Now don't forget to share this podcast, and please leave a review on iTunes or on whatever platform you hear it. This makes the podcast more visible and helps other artists find it. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, bye for now.